You're listening to On Fire Concerts Artist Interview Series with your host, Ron Johnson.
This is Ron with On Fire Concerts, and this is our artist interview of the month for October, and I am here with Sarah Manzo. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, a mutual friend of ours, Andy Dixon, introduced us.
The guy.
And I've known Andy a long time. So when he brought you to my attention, I looked at your music and I thought, this girl's got an amazing voice.
Aww.
And I've told Andy that. And your songs, My Ecstasy, and let's see if I pronounce this right, Cordelia. And I don't know the other one. I'm don't recall how I sing the title, but it was I Don't Care. But I don't know if it was F and I Don't Care or I Don't Care.
It's F-it.
I Don't Care.
I Don't Care.
Great song.
Yeah. I think you can assume what the F it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, just a brief history. You're from New Jersey originally, and I think you grew up in your early years in New York City.
Yeah, so I'm from Bergen County, New Jersey, but I went to college in New York City at a conservatory for musical theater.
Okay.
And from there, the pandemic hit, and then I knew I wanted to do music, so eventually I wanted a trip here, and then I was here for 2 days, and I knew.
You knew this is where you wanted to be.
I contacted my college, like, seriously, 2 days after I got here, and I was like, hey, I'm not coming back to the conservatory, I'm moving to Nashville.
So, growing up, what influenced you in music-wise? I mean, what made you think, hey, I want to look at music?
So, my mom is an amazing singer, and we saw a lot of musicals growing up, and she's a big fan of Barbra Streisand. That was sort of the start for me, was listening to my mom sing Barbra Streisand over and over again in the kitchen. And yeah, my dad listened to a lot of hip hop. Both of my parents are from New York, so he was always just like rapping in the car.
A lot of variety.
Yes, big variety of music, that's for sure. And yet, over time, I just kind of discovered like my own sort of genres of music that I enjoyed. And from there, I just started writing my own stuff.
So, who, as far as to me, just listening to what I've seen on YouTube and on your website, who were your influences? Because I told somebody last night, I'm not sure if you classify you as bluesy, jazz, opera, a little bit of all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would put myself in the pop singer-songwriter, and my genre has changed over the years, because when I first moved here, I was very much R&B, soul, kind of bluesy.
Right.
And now I'd say I'm more like soulful pop singer-songwriter, very storytelling based. But my influences definitely range. My biggest influence is Amy Winehouse.
Okay.
And Taylor Swift in terms of like lyrics and
Right.
being very like specific with her storytelling.
So, music I guess I'm on stage introducing people and all that, but not singing or nothing. So, how did performing go when you first started doing it? Was it an easy thing?
So I had terrible stage fright most of my life, probably until I was 18. I had stage fright, and then when I went to college, it finally got better. And it was really hard because I had to audition for school because I knew I wanted to go for theater and music. So I auditioned for 40 schools. And every single time when I went into the room, I'd be like shaking a little bit, and I'd take a deep breath, and I was like, okay, it's go time. And I would go for it. But it was really hard for me when I got roles throughout like high school. I remember I would like be shaking on stage, but I'd still sing through. And now when I go on stage, I don't have any nerves.
I read an interview, I think it was, or something I've seen where you had stated that you couldn't even keep your instrument from shaking. At times.
Yeah, I just like, for me, like whenever I would step onto stage, I don't know what it was. It's just like, it wasn't even the people. I wasn't scared of people. I've always been like very outgoing, but I don't know, something about like being on a stage was really hard for me. And now I just like step on the stage and I'm like, oh, no problem. But yeah, it's something I definitely had to fight to get comfortable with.
I think it was on your website that I seen where you say your music led you through some hard times as far as writing about mental health and different things.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about that. That's interesting. I mean, then people can relate to that.
Yeah. I think for a long time I was very closed off about talking about mental health. But over time, when I would talk to other artists or other people in general, people started opening up and telling me their stories. So I thought it was a good time to start telling mine. And for me, the way I started writing music is I went through a difficult breakup with somebody I cared for, and I would just hear melodies in my head, like consistently all day. I'd just be like, na, 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 na. And I would think to myself, like, is this a song I've already heard before? And it was never a song I'd heard before. It was just something I was creating in my head. And I think it's because my heart was so broken that the music was kind of just like flowing out of me. And so I remember I'd be like at the subway in New York City, and I would just be like, no, because it's New York, so who cares?
New York City,
yeah,
everybody
I would
does.
just be singing out loud, and it progressed over time that I started taking like voice memos and just kind of like singing into like my phone these melodies, and then it progressed to me singing to a click to these melodies that I had in my head, and then I took an intro to piano class, and I started playing piano and singing, and yeah, it's just kind of like grown from there. Now I play guitar and I play a little bit of piano still, and yeah, it's been a interesting journey. But the music has kind of just always innately been inside of me.
And that made your stage fright when you started writing. Basically, everything just magically.
Yeah, I think,
and I think that was because it came from you.
Yeah, I think there's something really powerful about being authentic and being true to you. You know, my whole life I was auditioning for these characters and trying to be somebody else. I would go into a room and I'd be auditioning for Belle on like a Disney Cruise Line or Broadway or whatever, and every single girl in the room would look like me. And I think where that stage fright came from was just the internal comparison and not really knowing who I was and putting all of my identity in trying to be a character instead of just being me. So when I started writing music and hearing these melodies and turning them into songs, it felt most authentic. And I think from there, that's why I kind of forgot about the stage fright and was able to just kind of show my full self on stage without feeling like I had to put on an act or
It was just
be somebody else.
Natural.
Yeah, just be me.
So you came, being that you come from New Jersey to Nashville, and if I remember, 21 or 2021.
Yeah.
That's a big move.
Yes.
That's a big.
Yes,
that's a
it's
big
very
move.
different here.
And yeah, I'm about to say the difference in people and just in general.
Yeah.
And did you come by yourself?
Well, I did come by myself. When I came here, I was on a trip with my best friend Stacia. We wanted to get away because it was sort of the end of the pandemic and we were both just sick of being home with our parents. Sorry, Mom and Dad. Love you. I needed a break from my family and I needed to just kind of do me. So we came down here with her college friends and I stayed in a room that was not even a room. It just had a couch, and it wasn't like a full couch. It was like a small couch chair, and I would sleep there. And I stayed for a whole month. And then I actually got my first full band show. And in New York, I had played shows, but I never played with a full band before. Right. And I got an opportunity, and it was right around Halloween, but my trip was ending 2 weeks before Halloween. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I found some people to stay with. I was crashing on different couches, and then I was like, all right. I already told my college at that point I was moving here.
I'm in that.
So I knew it. Yeah, I went home and I told my parents, and they were like, "You what? You talked to your college? What are you doing?" And I said, "Yeah, and I'm going there." So I just packed up the next month, and then I moved to Nashville.
And as a songwriter, you meet a lot of other songwriters, of course, and the bonds you build.
Yeah.
Is amazing, and the people you meet, such like I said, as our friend Andy.
Yeah.
You don't meet many people like Andy.
You don't.
But
Andy's the best.
He is, and folks, you need to look up the Round Room. So
Round Room Music.
And
give us a call.
That's right.
You know where to go.
And so, tell us about your new album.
Yeah, so my new album, I have been working on this project. Honestly, I feel like my whole life because it's a collection of everything I've kind of gone through as a young adult. Um, and also as like a child, I dealt with a lot of bullying as a kid. And so the album is kind of about dealing with, not really knowing who you are, and then also dealing with like friendships, like losing friendships,
Yeah.
losing love, finding yourself, and dealing with mental health. The album is called Brain on Fire.
And
So,
that mental health, everything that I think a lot of people can relate to most of your songs that I've heard. I mean, and when if you're the writer singer,
yeah,
and the thing is, you control it. It's not the industry or somebody else. It's
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And I think that means a lot to be able to control your music.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And I think even with moving to Nashville, I was still trying to figure out what my sound was. And I was doing R&B pop because I thought that's what people wanted to hear instead of what I was really trying to say as an artist. But simultaneously, I was working on this album and writing these songs that felt very true and authentic to me. And I've been performing live shows and, working with a band. And I put on my own showcase. It's called Women with Soul, and it's to highlight different women in town and to inspire them to take up space and to show their own individuality
Right.
on stage. And it's really powerful to play those songs to people because they really mean something to me, and I think people can see through your bullshit.
No,
I think people can tell when
they
you're not
can-
being honest.
If you're just singing,
Yeah.
And I tell people, if you're like, I'm a traditional country guy
Yeah.
in general, so the difference in today's songwriters, the way I put it to people, to me, is nowadays somebody say, go in a room and write a song about a dog.
Yeah.
So they go in there and write a song about a dog, means nothing to me.
Yeah.
Merle Haggard goes in a room and writes a song, comes out, I understand that
Yeah.
song, so that makes a difference.
Yeah. The chords and the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell the folks where they can see you and find you.
Yeah, so my name is Sarah Manzo. You can find me on Instagram at Sarah Manzo Music. Same with my TikTok and my YouTube. I'm also on Facebook. I had a single come out, Cordelia, a couple months ago. It's about calling out to the goddess of the sea and asking her to heal your heart from a breakup. So if you can relate to that, you should go check that out. I have another single coming out October 25th. It's called Control. And it's about temptation and dealing with energy vampires. That pretty much means just people that suck the life out of you, and getting that power back. And yeah, the album should be out by 2024, beginning of 2024.
And all that will be on Spotify and
Apple Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming services that you can find.
So, and are you playing anywhere local?
Yeah, so
find you?
Yeah, so I put on the Women with Soul Showcase every 2 months. I occasionally play on Broadway, so if you ever go to Layer Cake, hit me up. I'm sometimes there. And then different writers rounds and other events in town. Whenever I get a show opportunity, I'm playing it. So
well, we're going to have to put something together.
Let's do it.
I think that would be a fun show. And there's people that we'll be talking about that I think would be a big help.
Definitely.
So, folks,
you and me, teamwork.
Go check Sarah Manzo out and look her up on all the platforms. I think you will be very impressed because she's got an amazing voice and her songs are just simply pure from the heart. So, but we appreciate you being here today and taking time to do this.
Thanks for having me.
And so, folks, until next time, go out there. These interviews, of course, are on all your platforms and our website, and we'll share it on everything imaginable out there. So, but thank y'all for tuning in, and until next time, we'll see you then.
See you then.
All right.